At the first indication of an American preemptive attack, the Army of North Korea will turn the U.S. mainland into the theater of a nuclear war. That from North Korean state-run television after President Trump's warning of fire and fury if the North keeps threatening the U.S. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. As the rhetoric only gets hotter, the president's top diplomat is trying to tone it down. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson in Guam, a U.S. territory and potential North Korean target, is trying to be the voice of calm, perhaps the good cop here, suggesting North Korea should engage in a dialogue with the U.S. Meantime, President Trump this morning tweeted about a stronger and more powerful U.S. nuclear arsenal, and his defense secretary shored him up, warning the North to, quote, cease any consideration of actions that would lead to the end of its regime and the destruction of its people. We have Fox team coverage tonight. Kevin Cork with a status update on America's nuclear weapons. Doug McElway looks at the U.S. defensive capabilities. And correspondent Rich Edson starts us off from the State Department tonight with a war of words short of war. Good evening, Rich.
Good evening, Brett. And Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is returning from several days in Southeast Asia, where he tried to convince adversaries and allies to pressure North Korea, isolate it diplomatically and economically, to get it to give up its weapons programs. The Secretary of State says that campaign is beginning to show signs that it is working, and as he does so, he's trying to also calm the rhetoric between North Korea and the United States. As two nuclear-armed countries trade threats, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson offers calm.
I think Americans should sleep well at night. I have no concerns about this particular rhetoric of the last few days. I think the president, again, as commander-in-chief, I think he felt it necessary to issue a very strong statement directly to North Korea.
Tillerson is returning from several days of diplomacy in Asia. He spoke to reporters while traveling to a planned refueling stop in Guam, an island North Korea hours before warned it was, quote, carefully examining as a missile target, a response to President Trump's latest threat.
They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
That drew bipartisan criticism.
The great leaders that I've seen, they don't threaten unless they are ready to act. Yeah. And I'm not sure that President Trump is ready to act. It's kind of the classic Trump, and he overstates things.
In a statement, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says, quote, we need to be firm and deliberate with North Korea, but reckless rhetoric is not a strategy to keep America safe. Secretary Tillerson also explained the president's comments as a translation.
What the president was doing is sending a strong message to North Korea in language that Kim Jong-un would understand, because he doesn't seem to understand diplomatic language.
The president issued his North Korea warning during an event on opioid addiction. The Weekly Standard reports the White House and National Security Council were unaware the president would offer such a warning. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders responded, quote, General Kelly and others on the NSC team were well aware of the tone of the statement of the president prior to delivery. The words were his own. The tone and strength of the message were discussed beforehand. Secretary Tillerson spent this week pressing international counterparts to enforce sanctions against North Korea. He claims Kim Jong-un's regime is already responding to international coordination.
The pressure is starting to show. I think that's why the rhetoric coming out of Pyongyang is beginning to become louder and more threatening.
Shortly after the secretary spoke, President Trump boasted about the U.S. nuclear arsenal that, quote, it is now far stronger and more powerful than ever before. And in a statement, Secretary of Defense James Mattis adds, quote, while our State Department is making every effort to resolve this global threat through diplomatic means, it must be noted that the combined allied militaries now possess the most precise, rehearsed, and robust defensive and offensive capabilities on Earth. While in Asia, the secretary says he spoke also with officials from China and from Russia, noting that those two countries have open lines of communications with North Korea. He says he's hoping that those countries use those discussions to try to get North Korea to halt its weapons development. Brett?
Rich Edson at the State Department. Rich, thank you.